Hello, people. Alright, before I begin, I'd like to go and say that Chuck Berry died last night, and it's very sad to go and know that. He was just one of the big people in rock and roll back in the day, and it's kind of funny because the day before he died, I was watching Back to the Future. So, that kind of stuff happens to me a lot, actually, where I'll watch a movie or a show or something like that, and then the day after or a week after or something like that, something will happen to the actor or a sequel will be announced or anything like that. It happened all the time to me, but it's really sad to see him go. He was from St. Louis just like I am, and he also died in St. Charles County, where I'm from. So it's kind of just sad to go and see him go, and I wish his family the best. But with that, we get to the main part of this video. The Kids' Choice Awards. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Spongebob Squarepants, who's been winning every award since 2003. Spongebob Squarepants. Every year, we kind of hope that a different show is going to win it. That a miracle is going to happen and that SpongeBob won't win the award. But every year we get proven wrong and it ends up winning it every single time. This has happened every year since 2003 except for once, but it's so frustrating to see because there are so many good shows out there that just never win it or even get a nomination because I guess Nickelodeon might think they might lose it, which is the part of this video. Are the Kids' Choice Awards rigged? That has been debated for years. A lot of speculators think that the Kids' Choice Awards are rigged so a Nickelodeon show, usually SpongeBob, will win it. Now, there's really no proof on this, just speculation, but it just makes you think of because of how the Kids' Choice Awards have gone over the last almost 30 years. So I brought up the whole history in it on Wikipedia, along with the history of the favorite TV show. I'm going to go and look at them and see what they're like ever since they were created. So let's go ahead and look at them. Okay, so in 1988 we have TMNT, The Smurfs, and DuckTales. So pretty good shows, I guess. And of course, TMNT won because it was really popular back then. So, first year we have TMNT, no doubt about that. Then in 1989 we have TMNT, Garfield and Friends, and the Smurfs. So I'm kind of surprised that the Smurfs stayed, but DuckTales didn't. I mean, Garfield and Friends I can understand, that's a great show, but the Smurfs? But once again, it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was still very popular back then. Understandable. Let's go to 1990. So only one show got nominated, and that was TMNT again. Now I kind of wonder why they only did that, because some of the other shows were still going on then, but they only chose Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and maybe they figured it was just pointless to get other shows because TMNT would win, but they did that again in 1991, but this time it was only Tiny Toon Adventures. So why didn't TMNT get nominated? Because it was still pretty popular back then, but they still didn't nominate it. Now, 1991 was the year that Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, and Doug all premiered, but it wasn't until later that year. The Kids' Choice Awards are usually in March, so the shows didn't appear yet. Alright, now we get into the Nickelodeon years, with all the Nicktoons. So, in 1992, we have Doug. This continues on through a few years where it's the only nomination, even though they have Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy to nominate. I don't know why they did that. That doesn't make any sense to me, but for the first few years, it's only Doug. finally in 1995 they have Doug, Aladdin, and Animaniacs, and Doug wins, which is kind of weird because this is after Doug had ended. So why did they nominate a show that had ended and but didn't nominate any of their other shows? Now, truthfully, I think this might have been for the shows through '94, but it still doesn't make any sense. Then we have in 1996 some different shows. In 1990s, excuse me. In 1996 we have Rugrats, Animaniacs, Doug, and The Simpsons. And Rugrats finally won it after all those years. After 5 years, that's kind of surprising. But we also got one from The Simpsons, which was about 6 years after it premiered. So 6 years after The Simpsons premiered, this was getting towards the ending of The Simpsons classic era. So I kind of wonder why they waited so long. In 1997, they have Rugrats, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. That's a weird nomination. Animaniacs, and The Simpsons. And of course, again, the Rugrats won. In 1998, we have Rugrats, Hey Arnold, King of the Hill, and The Simpsons. So King of the Hill, that's a different nomination, but King of the Hill is a good show. I'm not surprised it wouldn't be on there. And Rugrats won again. To me, this is when Rugrats was starting to get toward its not really good era. It did have some good episodes once in a while, but just I didn't really care for the episodes once the movie premiered. To me, too many episodes just focused on Tommy trying to help Dil, and I do know it's supposed to show him getting more responsible, being a big brother, growing up, but too many episodes were focused on that. I'm sorry. Then in 1999, we have Rugrats, Cat Dog, Men in Black the series, and The Simpsons. Once again, it's the Rugrats. Big surprise there. So, as you're kind of seeing so far, back in the 90s, Rugrats was pretty much the Spongebob of its day. It constantly always won, and it just got really annoying. Now this one's very surprising. In 2000, we have Rugrats, Pokemon, The Simpsons, and Cat Dog. This was back when Pokemon was really popular. I mean really, really popular. Pokemon back then was like what Minions are today. It was a very popular show. Not that it is now, but it was just on a different level back then. Yet, it didn't win. Rugrats won. Now, Pokemon Yellow won and Pokemon the first movie won, but Rugrats didn't win? It's just... Or Pokemon didn't win. Why would Rugrats win over Pokemon? I don't think Rugrats was really as popular as it was back then. People did still watch it all the time, but Pokemon was definitely the craze that was going on back then. So this kind of makes you wonder if Nickelodeon was tampering with the awards. Because Pokemon was clearly, to me, the more popular show, and I don't see how it could have won over the Rugrats. Okay, so in the year after we have Rugrats, Hey Arnold, the Powerpuff Girls, and The Simpsons. Now to me, either Hey Arnold or the Powerpuff Girls should have won. In the end, that's a very tough one, but I guess I had to go with the Powerpuff Girls in the end, but it's still a tough one. But once again, the Rugrats won. In 2002, we have The Simpsons, Hey Arnold, Rugrats, and Scooby-Doo. I'm guessing that means Scooby-Doo, the new one, whatever it was called, I can't think of it. What's New Scooby-Doo? And surprisingly, The Simpsons won. This was in 2002, about 12 years after The Simpsons premiered, and it finally won? I mean, this was back when The Simpsons were not as popular as they were. I mean, maybe in 1992 this would make sense, but 2002 is a weird one, and it's a non-Nickelodeon one, so it's definitely a weird one. Then we get into the SpongeBob era. Oh. In 2003, we have SpongeBob, Rugrats, The Simpsons, and Kim Possible. And SpongeBob wins. Now, I would either choose SpongeBob or Kim Possible for that one, and it would probably be, I guess, SpongeBob in the end. This was back when SpongeBob was still very funny, so it does make sense. Then in 2004, we have SpongeBob, The Fairly OddParents, The Proud Family, and The Simpsons. I'd probably go with either The Proud Family or SpongeBob, and in the end, SpongeBob. In 2005, we have SpongeBob, Ed and Eddie, The Fairly OddParents, and The Simpsons. And I'd probably go with Ed and Eddie, but oh, what do you know, SpongeBob won. Then in 2006, we have SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, The Fairly OddParents, and The Simpsons. And SpongeBob won. In 2007, we have SpongeBob Squarepants, The Fairly OddParents, Jimmy Neutron, and The Simpsons. And of course, SpongeBob wins. And I kind of wonder why they had Jimmy Neutron in it. This was after Jimmy Neutron had ended, yet they have it. And Jimmy Neutron, was it even that popular of a show? I liked it myself, but I don't remember it ever being the show that everyone always talked about. So it's weird that it's a nomination. Then in 2008, we have Avatar, The Simpsons, Ed and Eddie, and SpongeBob. And finally, Avatar wins. Oh, that was just so glorious. It deserved to win. It was clearly the better show, and it finally won over that stupid sponge. But sadly, that was the only time it was going to happen. Here we have, in 2009, we have SpongeBob, The Fairly OddParents, Phineas and Ferb, and Simpsons. SpongeBob obviously wins. And Phineas and Ferb is a weird case. Phineas and Ferb is one of the only shows that seems to get fair treatment. All the other shows that are popular got nominated a few years after they premiered that weren't Nickelodeon shows. Yet Phineas and Ferb was the only one that won. I'm guessing maybe they did that because it didn't get the audience that SpongeBob got, so they were pretty confident that it wasn't going to win, but it was still risky. In 2010, we have SpongeBob, Penguin to Madagascar, Phineas and Ferb, and The Simpsons. And, of course, SpongeBob wins. Now, to me, this is when Phineas and Ferb was starting to go downhill. I think it was pretty good in its first and second seasons, but by the time the third season came around, or maybe even by the second half of the second season, it went downhill and it just never recovered. And I heard a lot of the people who wrote the episodes went on to shows like Adventure Time and Gravity Falls, so that does make sense. In 2011, we have SpongeBob, Penguins, Phineas and Ferb, and Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Now, to me, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated is obviously the one that should have won. It's a really good Scooby-Doo show, but what do you know? Why wouldn't it be SpongeBob? It wins. Then in 2012, we had SpongeBob, Kung Fu Panda, Phineas and Ferb, and Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. SpongeBob wins it again, and it's like the 5th year in a row. This is when it was really starting to get frustrating. Then in 2013, we have SpongeBob, The Fairly OddParents, Phineas and Ferb, and Tom and Jerry. Now that is just a terrible list overall. Tom and Jerry, the new one, they were just like trying to get SpongeBob to get nominated. Those are all terrible shows to nominate. Then in 2014, we have SpongeBob, Phineas and Ferb, Tmnt, and Adventure Time. 4 years after it premiered, Adventure Time finally gets in there. 4 years. I kind of wonder if they waited until after the hype died down to go and put it in there. Because they know if they didn't, Adventure Time would win and SpongeBob wouldn't. In 2015, we have SpongeBob, Adventure Time, Phineas and Ferb, TMNT, Teen Titans Go, and The Fairly OddParents. Oh, wow. Okay, so apart from Adventure Time and possibly TMNT, those are all horrible nominations. Teen Titans Go? Ugh. I mean, never mind that there's some other shows they could have nominated, but they nominated Teen Titans Go. I mean, at least Adventure Time got in there, but still. Then in 2016, we have SpongeBob, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Gravity Falls, Ninjago, Phineas and Ferb, Steven Universe, Titans Go, and The Amazing World of Gumball. And that's finally actually a decent list. They have Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, and The Amazing World of Gumball. All pretty good shows. Now, in my opinion, Gravity Falls should have won. To me, it's the better show. And I do like Gumball, and I've never really seen Steven Universe, mostly because the fandom kind of ruined it for me. They're just very horrible fans, but even then, I still would have been happy if it had won, but it was still SpongeBob, even with all those shows. And that was the last year that Gravity Falls was on. You kind of think that Nickelodeon probably knew that, and they took advantage of that. But and still, Gravity Falls is more popular with the teen and young adult crowd. So I guess that's why they also put it on there, because they knew there wouldn't be a lot of kids who would vote for it. Finally, this year we have SpongeBob, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Teen Titans Go, TMNT, The Amazing World of Gumball, and The Loud House. And well, either Gumball or The Loud House could have won, both good shows. SpongeBob won again. It's just, there are so many good shows out there, yet they always choose SpongeBob every single freaking year. I mean, even with The Loud House, Gumball, Adventure Time, Teen Titans, or Steven Universe, and Gravity Falls, it still goes and loses, or wins. I'm surprised they didn't go and nominate the new Powerpuff Girls, because that would be a guaranteed win for SpongeBob. Just, I'm hoping with shows like the new DuckTales and Samurai Jack that SpongeBob might have a chance of losing. And I know you might go and say, well, Samurai Jack's on Adult Swim. True, but King of the Hill and The Simpsons also got nominated, so there is that chance that it might get nominated, even though it is kind of gory. So then we also have the favorite TV show. So we have Alf, The Cosby Show, and Growing Pains. Alf wins. In '89 we have The Cosby Show, Alf, and Growing Pains again. This time it's The Cosby Show. Then in '90 we have The Cosby Show, Doggy Howser, MD. Never even heard of that. Full House, Growing Pains, and The Wonder Years. The Cosby Show, even though I think it probably should be The Wonder Years. '91 we have The Simpsons, 21 Jump Street, The Cosby Show, Full House, and Star Trek The Next Generation. So it's been on, The Simpsons is on 2 different nominations. So it has 2 chances to win, which is, in my book, unfair. It should just be nominated in one of the categories and one of the categories only. Whichever one they want, just put it in one. But The Simpsons won. Then in 1992 we have Dinosaurs, The Fresh Prince, Roxanne, Star Trek, and The Wonder Years. Dinosaurs wins, and I know it was kind of popular back then, but that's a weird show to let win. Then in '93 we have Beverly Hills, The Fresh Prince, In Living Color, Married with Children, and Roxanne. Beverly Hills. Then in '94 we have Home Improvement, The Fresh Prince, Full House, Martin, and Roxanne, Home Improvement. Then in '95 we have Home Improvement, The Fresh Prince, Living Single, Martin, Seinfeld, Home Improvement again. Then in '96 we have Home Improvement, Family Matters, The Fresh Prince, Sister Sister, Home Improvement again. And then in 1997 we have Home Improvement, All of That, America's Funniest Home Videos, Goosebumps, Home Improvement again. I didn't know it was that popular back then. Then in '98 we have Kenan and Kel, Home Improvement, Sabrina, The Teenage Witch, and Sister Sister. And finally, something beats Home Improvement, and it's Kenan and Kel. Then in '99 we have All That, Seventh Heaven, Boy Meets World, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. and it's all that. And Boy Meets World is a weird one. This was years after Boy Meets World premiered, so I wonder why they put it on there. Then in 2000 we have All That, Sabrina, Seventh Heaven, All That. Then in 2001 we have Malcolm in the Middle, Seventh Heaven, Friends, Sabrina, Teenage Witch, and it's Malcolm in the Middle. 2002 we have Lizzie McGuire, All That, Friends, Seventh Heaven, Lizzie McGuire. 2003 we have Lizzie McGuire, All That, Seventh Heaven, and Friends, Lizzie McGuire. 2004 we have All That, Friends, Lizzie McGuire, Fear Factor, All That. 2005 we have American Idol, Drake and Josh, Fear Factor, Lizzie McGuire. It should have been Drake and Josh, but it was American Idol. 2006 we had Drake and Josh, like it should have been. American Idol, Fear Factor, and That's So Raven, Drake and Josh. American Idol, Drake and Josh, Fear Factor, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, American Idol, even though it should have been Drake and Josh. Then in 2008 we had Drake and Josh, Hannah Montana, iCarly, and The Sweet Life. Thank God Hannah Montana didn't win. Then in 2009 we had iCarly, Hannah Montana, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and Zoe 101. It was iCarly. 2010 we have iCarly, Sunny with a Chance, The Sweet Life on Deck, and Wizards of Waverly Place. It was iCarly. 2011 we have iCarly, The Big Time Rush, Sweet Life on Deck, Wizards of Waverly Place, and it's iCarly. 2012 we have Victorious, Good Luck Charlie, iCarly, Wizards, and then it's Victorious. 2013 we have Victorious, Good Luck Charlie, iCarly, and Wizards. It's Victorious again. 2014 we have Sam and Cat, The Big Bang Theory, Good Luck Charlie, and Jessie. And then it's Sam and Cat, even though that show lasted 1 year. Then in 2015 we have 2 nominations for things. For kids we have Austin Alley, Dog with a Blog. God, that show was stupid. Every Which Way, Henry Danger, Jessie. Then that Ricky Dicky show, Austin Alley. Then for family we have Modern Family, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Big Bang Theory, The Flash, Gotham, and then Once Upon a Time. Then it was Modern Family. In 2016 we had The Thundermans, Austin Alley, Girl Meets World, Henry Danger, Jessie, Lab Rats, and the Bionic Island. Then it was The Thundermans, even though it should have been Girl Meets World. 2016 family, we have The Muppets, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Big Bang Theory, The Flash, Modern Family, and Once Upon a Time. It was The Muppets. In 2017 kids, we have Henry Danger, Game Shakers, Girl Meets World, Ricky Nicky, and then The Thundermans, and then it was Henry Danger. And then in 2017 family, we have Fuller House, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Big Bang Theory, Blackish, The Flash, and Supergirl. Ooh, jeez. So, obviously, in this award, it's a lot different. Different shows that weren't Nickelodeon won a lot more. That is until more recently, where they split the award into kids and family. And I kind of wonder if they noticed that was because they had a bunch of different shows on there that weren't Nickelodeon, and they were like, well, Nickelodeon isn't winning, so we should split it so we have more of a chance of winning. So, I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's just, when you look at those 2 different awards, they're a lot different. Because in here you have a bunch of different shows that win it, up until more recent. But in Nickelodeon, the cartoons, it's always Nickelodeon. Even during the 90s and early 2000s, it was usually Rugrats. So, it's just, you always have to ask it. It's like a Cubs fans. Maybe next year. You know, but the Cubs eventually didn't win it, or did win it, even though I don't like it because I'm a Cardinals fan, but if they could win the World Series, maybe the Kids' Choice Awards can go to a different show eventually. Maybe Samurai Jack, even though it's gory, might possibly get nominated. Who knows? But it's just, after all these years, you think SpongeBob finally would have lost, but it doesn't. And even though I forgot to vote this year, I remember last year, they had people go and vote as much as they want. Now, I think that is stupid. I think it should be just vote once, and that is all. Just like a normal kind of vote thing. Like when you vote for a president. You should only get to vote one time. it should go and remember your IP address or something, and just only let you go and vote that one little time. To me, it's stupid that they let people go and vote nominated times, because I remember last year there were a bunch of Gravity Falls fans and Steven Universe fans saying vote numerous times for this show, but even then, SpongeBob still won. So it shows that voting a bunch of times means nothing. So what do you think? Do you think the Kids' Choice Awards are rigged, or do you think it's just all in our heads and that we need to grow up and just move on from the Kids' Choice Awards? To me, I really don't know. It is kind of weird and skeptical, but I'm skeptical about it. But I just want different shows to win that have good writing, good character development, not a show that relies on cheap laughs. But I'm an adult. Kids, it's a voting thing for kids, so why am I complaining? I just want a different show to eventually win. Maybe that will be next year. One can only hope. And I really hope it's Samurai Jack.